2017 Traders Challenge, and we're absolutely delighted to have Jason Irwin come to Saskatoon to compete in this year's event. Now Jason is originally from Prince Edward Island, currently hails in Port Elgin, Ontario, where he's involved in a family business called North Star Livestock, which is based out of Port Elgin and has been there for the last 20 years. North Star Livestock raises quarter horses, specializing in big, fancy blue roans that sell all throughout North America. Jason, along with his wife, Brown, teach 20+ horsemanship and liberator training clinics in any given year. Although his specialty is starting colts under saddle, Jason also works with problem horses. He adds that finishing touch training to older horses. He competes in colt starting competitions all over Canada and trains Liberty horses. Horses started and trained by Jason have gone on to excel in everything from barrel racing to ranch work to fox hunting to performing in drill teams and just about everything in between. His aim, folks, is to put a solid foundation on a horse so it can go on to excel in any discipline. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Jason Irwin. We'll just do a mic test. Test. Anytime you want to enter, judges, we're ready to go. Here we go. Okay. We're going to start the clock. Jason has 16 minutes, ladies and gentlemen, to spend with this filly.
All right. Good day, everybody. Really tickled to be here. We started off this morning. I got up about 2 in the morning, got on a late flight, rushed out here. Finally thought I could catch my breath. Through number 1 in the competition. They said get in the ring. There, so it's lovely to have some time to catch my breath here. I was also so happy that you guys warmed up this province for me before I got here. And what I'm just going to do for a second, I'm just going to move around this pen backwards, settle down, and I'm just going to lead this filly to me. And the reason for this is I want to get used to bringing her in to me. I want her learning to follow me. Like was mentioned in the preview there, I do train quite a few horses for Liberty work, and not that it's the be-all, end-all, but I do like to bring them in quite a bit. I just find it connects them to me. Now she's going to be a little temperamental about this, I think, so I'm also going to see if I can get her to move around me. If she wants to go that bad, I'd rather she just went instead of getting an argument. So they pick up that momentum, and then I'm going to try to yield this filly's hindquarters in just a second here. Like so. So that's what I wanted right there. Now she gets a little snippy when I pet her, so I'm going to pet her anyways, but I'm going to do it for little short lengths of time. I don't want to do it till I get annoying, but I want to do it just enough that she starts to learn to like being petted by me, because I'm going to be touching her all over either with my hands or with the tack at some point here. Just keep her moving out. If she wants to trot, that's even better in some ways. I'm just going to kind of keep redirecting it. Now I'm going to yield the hind end again. And you notice when I yield the hind end, I'm pulling her front end towards me, because when I pull her front end towards me, the hind end kind of automatically gives. Now after a little bit, I won't need to pull on the lead rope, but I'm doing it at the beginning just to more or less cheat and get myself started here. So I'm going to ask her to trot there. She kind of did for about 1 step. There we go. And if she jumps forward, I'm still going to release when she trots. She gets into little cranky stuff. I don't really pay a whole lot of attention. I just ask her to go again. And I'm going to yield the hindquarters again. And again, I'm going to try to pet her for just a second. She gives me about 2 seconds, then says, yeah, I don't like you anymore. So I'm just going to back up again. I'm going to go back to my first exercise. Now just a little trick here I find with training, whether it be this or under saddle or whatever, I like to do the opposite of whatever the horse wants to do for a little bit. What I mean by that is, if I'm bringing this horse to me and it wants to veer, say that way, or that way in this case, I'm going to go the opposite way and then pull it to me and then just go back straight again. So whatever it goes to do, I'm going to let it make a decision, although she's just following me. And I'm going to do the opposite thing just to get her try a little bit more hooked on to me. All right, so she leads good. I guess we got that established. On this side here, I don't know if you'll be touchier or friendlier. She says, yeah, you smell funny. So I'm just going to start trying to get her to lunge around just a tad. She's going. She's going. I'm just giving little releases when she goes. Getting a little close.
Folks, just to give you an idea what our judges are keeping an eye on the score sheet, they'll be looking for things like, did the trainer present himself to the horse in an acceptable manner? Did the trainer build trust and confidence? Did the horse accept the trainer's techniques? Did the horse accept the tools or equipment used? These are just a few of the things that the judges will be scoring Jason on in this first introduction to this good-looking Palomino filly. What do you think, folks?
So I don't know, does this filly have a name?
No, she's a registered horse, but Jason, we have a lot of fun each year with involving our crowd in trying to name these horses that are picked by the trainers. Let's see if the crowd has any suggestions for this good-looking yellow gal.
Somebody shout out a name real quick. Valentine. What was the other one? Sunny D. You like orange juice? What was the other one? Didn't hear that one? Angel. We don't know that part yet. I tried to pet her 3 times. She got mad every time. Well, it is, well, I was going to say it is Valentine's Day, but it's not my choice. Whoever votes for Valentine, raise your hand. We're not the most loving bunch of people. All right, who here likes orange juice? Sunny D. Got, okay. What was the other one? Angel, who's going with that? Not a very opinionated bunch, are you?
They're playing shy here early in the program.
All right, just because Valentine was the first one, we're going with Valentine.
Okay, Valentine's. Jason and Valentine.
I'm going to hustle her up just a little bit because she's just being a little bit ornery. I just named you Valentine. Be nice. I don't usually try to make them go fast at the beginning, but it's just because she's kind of being a little bit obstinate there. I'm just going to actually, oh, be nice. There. Now I'm going to yield the hind end in theory and stop her. And that was better. So I'm happy with that part. I'm going to ask her to go the other way. I'm not going to drill on any one thing too awful long. I'm just going to do enough that they sort of get the idea, and then I'll move on to something else. Usually with my training, you don't see me park on any one thing. I don't spend 20 minutes doing this and 20 minutes doing that. I just go till I see a little bit of improvement, and then I just more or less leave, work on something else, come back to that, get a little better. I tend to just start, get something good going on, and then disappear. Now this filly doesn't like being touched all that much, so I might be just a tad more insistent with this part. Because I think left too long, this could take me an awful long time, and maybe not do me any real good by leaving it. So I'm going to rub you over. She was better with that part, so I sort of step away. Rub you over. I don't know, sometimes these touchier horses, not that she's really all that touchy, but sometimes they're a little touchy in the cinch area. So I'll just kind of go down in here, rub around. I don't really want to get near her back end at the moment. Not that I think she's going to do anything wrong, but I just don't know her that well. But I'm going to rub a lot in this area where the saddle's going to go. I'm going to rub where the cinch is going to go. I'm just going to back away, bring her to me, let her know that wasn't too big a deal. I don't know that she's the type that's going to be my instant friend. I think she's well-mannered and that, but I don't know that she's just the most loving horse, at least at this moment, or at least with me. We'll just rub you down a little bit more. Like was mentioned on the preview there, I am from Ontario, and this is actually the first time I've been to Saskatchewan, so You're already making me work and I've only been here a couple hours. Originally, I was born in Prince Edward Island. You're probably thinking, oh, that's even worse than Ontario. They probably ride boats and think they're cowboys. The way I prefer to look at that one is at least I'm not from Newfoundland. So I just kind of rub down, rub over, rub down. She's getting a little more with the program now. She's warming up to me just a tad. See if I can get her to move out here. Now I'm kind of drawing her in a little bit, but I don't want her to crowd too much. So I'll plant my feet maybe just a little bit more. There we go. So that one was a tad freer. Good. So she wanted to yield her hind end that time by herself, but I'm not going to make a point of going on about this. Now I would like her to get used to stuff whirling over her head, because I think at some point we have to maybe spin a lariat or drag something, I'm not sure. And I have to get my horses very used to ropes, not because I rope a lot, but because I'm a really crappy roper. So when I throw a rope, the odds are very high I'm going to miss and I'm going to need to rethrow many, many times. When I was about 5 years old and this big, everybody said, oh, he ropes pretty good. The problem is I didn't improve at all from that day. Sometimes I think it got worse. So I have to get them as dummy-proof to this as one can possibly be. So sometimes they don't like the thing whirling over their head, and sometimes they don't like the noise, and sometimes they don't like the air moving past their ears. But either way, she's accepting all three at the moment. So I'll do it a little bit, and then take it away. A little bit, take it away. Once you've done both sides, that's when I'll step across the front here, and now she can see out of both eyes. Like so. And again, don't do it till you terrorize them, but just do it till they seem like they've accepted it. And then start again, and then quit, and start again, and then quit, and then I'm not going to do a lot more. Now something else I'm going to do here, it doesn't take very long, but it can make quite a difference. I would like to put this rope around this mare's belly, because this is where she's going to get used to a cinch. Again, I don't want to get my head down there too bad. So I'm just going to put light tension on the rope, then take that tension away, light tension on the rope, take that tension away. She's reaching her head around. I don't know whether she's trying to smell it or nip at me, but I'm just going to keep my elbow up here in case. I don't think she wants to nip, but I'd rather be ready than not. So she wanted to move. I'm just going to hold that lightly. She stopped. I release. So I'm going to start moving this around just a little bit more. And again, I won't go all the time until I annoy her. I'll just do a little bit more each time. A little bit more. A little bit more. Tension. A little bit more. Now I don't want her to turn her head away, because if she swung that way really fast, she might kick me. So we'll just touch all around here. Now something I'm going to do, this is a little trick that I find helps me quite a bit. I'm going to pull, and I'm going to release when she walks forward. I'm going to pull, and I'm going to release. Because I find if I put this tension around the belly, I'll get them where they will let me do the cinch up, but then when I move them out, they still might buck quite a bit. And not that I can stop every colt from bucking, but I found that if I get them to move with that little bit of tension, sometimes that's just sort of the missing link between a horse that did buck that maybe you could have stopped. And again, not that I think every colt is going to be prevented from bucking every time, but if I can minimize it, I'd rather do it that way. So again, we're just going to move around here. She's kind of getting that idea. Get away from that. Maybe touch her over one more time. That's pretty decent. Now, I don't know if I'll get the bridle on her right yet, but the way I would introduce, and if we get there, it's fine. If we don't, that's fine too. I'll take the lead rope. Well, first I'm just going to take, I'm just going to rub up around her head to see if she'll let me touch in that area to even start with. She says maybe not. She's getting a little ticked.
Here's one of the things to watch for, ladies and gentlemen, as you can sit back and be the judges yourself. Does the trainer diagnose and read the horse? Does the trainer display a feel for the horse? Does the trainer address an issue, present solutions, and work to resolve? Folks, you be the judge.
So I don't want to quit on her just because she's being cranky, because I think this mare is one of these ones that will be a little cranky about things. But when you have a horse that's head shy, and she's not head shy, she just hasn't been handled, A lot of times if you sort of cup your hand just around the base of their ear and sort of massage just a little bit like that, they won't necessarily like it at the very beginning, but they'll start to tolerate it. So instead of grabbing their ears, I'll get in here and just kind of work my hands. I guess I should turn her so you can see. But let's get in here, kind of work around there, and then you can start moving the ear just a little bit, but don't go to your annoying. Just go, move the ear a little bit like that, and then get out of there. It's not maybe quite as important on this side at this point, just because I'm not going to bridle from this side, but it would be good to do it enough that they know something about this. So again, that's not too bad. Also, to prepare them for the bridle going on, I'm going to put this right here, I'm going to slide it up over the head. Sort of like I would put a bridle on, except for without the bit being there, I'm not going to accidentally bang them in the teeth if their head raises up. So I'm going to go back and forth, put that bridle on, as well as if it was there. Put that bridle on. Again, I don't need to go all day, but I think you can see that she could tolerate the ear part. Another little trick, if you do some of the stuff ahead of time, it makes life an awful lot easier on you. So what I'm going to do is teach her to open her mouth on cue. It isn't very tricky, but I'm going to slide my finger into the corner of her mouth. When she opens her mouth, I'm going to let go right away and take my finger away. That way there, they get the idea when you slip the finger in, they automatically open and you don't get one that sort of locks its jaw. So there, wait, as soon as they open their mouth, let go. As soon as they open their mouth, let go. I'll do that maybe 3 times, providing they don't bite me in the meantime. So that's good enough. Even if they throw their head a little bit, that's good. If she wants to go, I'm not going to fight her, but I'm going to redirect that motion. And we're going to lunge if she wants to go. So we're going to, and I think you can see she's got a little bit of a streak in her where she doesn't want to be nice all the time. Okay, here again. I was going to yield the hindquarters, but she crowded me a little bit. Now I'm going to yield the hind end. That was a little more abrupt, but she still got it done. So I'm going to pet on her. I'm going to hope she starts to like this maybe just a little bit more. Again, I can go back, rub the ear, move around, touch over the body. I don't think she's one that's going to have a whole lot of fun if I just pick on her a lot with any one topic. Another thing I'll do is kind of rub them on the muzzle. Now you can get them a little crabby about that. I'm just going to wipe my hand down it. And that's sort of good enough. I don't like fiddling around their face too much because you can start to tick them off just a little. I would rather work on that over time. Now if I could slip the bridle on this filly, I will. It's not that I'm trying to rush here, but I like putting it on sooner than later, and the reason being, because I start colts more often in a snaffle than a rope halter or a hackamore. I do use those sometimes, but I would rather she got the bit in her mouth so she could play with it, gum it, chew it, stuff like that. Now she might let me do this, but if she's going to be too tough, I can just leave it. But I'm going to slide this a bit under her jaw. Slide this up here. Put that bridle on. Now I made that bridle extra big so that I could slip it over her ears. So she flung her head up there, but she did not bang her teeth off the bit, and there was no bad experience. So the way I look at it is, now she has something else to think about. And I think maybe some colts, actually, when you get the bridle on them, when they get the bit in their mouth, it's almost like a kid with a soother. It gives them something to think about. Now, if she jams up too much, I'll switch over to the bag on the stick, but at the moment, this is pretty decent. Okay. I'm just going to give her a little break for a second. I'm just going to walk around. So I'm just going to let her play around with that for a minute. I don't think this is the horse that's really scared of a lot, but I think she's overly opinionated, possibly. I married someone sort of with the same temperament.
Remember, this is Valentine's Day.
Yeah, you're right. Never mind. Forget what I said.
42 minutes left.
Okay. Something I do a little bit, I play around with the whips, and I just find if they get used to this, they're used to just more. So if you can crack whips around a horse, now don't crack the whips around your horse for the first time if you don't know how to crack the whip. And if you go out and beat your horse and yourself a few times, you'll find the experience kind of goes downhill from there. But if you're handy with it, I'll just start whirling it around lightly, and then I'll stop, and then I'll whirl around lightly, and then I'll stop. And earlier you saw me do it with the lead rope already, so she's kind of got the idea. This isn't very new. And then I'll just lightly pop it. It's hardly enough that she even notices it.
No, I'm stressed out about the net.
If she wants to carry on, I'm going to let her. And actually what I'm going to do here is I might even move backwards. Because this way she's coming into this noise. And that might upset her just a tad if she runs by me. I'll just yield those hindquarters and then go right back to what I was doing. And I don't need to be out here until this looks like an Indiana Jones rehearsal, but just enough that she's kind of getting the idea.
Here's another category, ladies and gentlemen, that our judges are watching for. Is the trainer proficient and efficient in timing what the horse needs? You be the judge.
Then every once in a while, again, I'll stop and pet her. I don't think she wants me to all that badly. But I think this is one that I could go really, really slow on and not be much farther ahead than if I kind of picked up the pace a bit. Because I think she's got lots of energy, but she just has her own way of doing things. And I think she's a smart horse. I'm not just saying that, I honestly think she is. So I don't want to get into this where I'm doing less just for the sake of doing less. So that's not real loud, but it's not too bad either, considering she's never been around one.
She's looking at the audience as though she recognized a relative or something.
Do any of you wear carrot cologne? No? Stand back. So she's pretty accepting about that, considering. So what I'm going to do here, now I usually like to rotate between what I call thinking exercises and doing exercises. What I mean by that, normally when I would do something like that they have to wrap their head around, I would then like to do an exercise that involves quite a bit of physical ability, maybe have them trot around, lope around, stuff like that. But in her case, I'm just going to kind of move on. And the reason for that is, I asked her just to do a whole bunch of exercises. I think, again, she's going to get just a little touchy. So I don't really, okay, keep pushing. Okay, now that time was just a little bit rude. So I'm going to back her out of my space. Make her put a little effort into it. That's fine. So now when I introduce the tarp, let's touch her on the shoulder and take it away. And I introduce the tarp before I introduce the saddle. And the reason being, if I can throw the tarp over them, later on when I throw the saddle on that weighs 40-some pounds, if she jumps and throws the tarp off, nobody cares. If she jumps and throws the saddle off, then it might be a little trickier to get her saddled the next time. So for the most part, I take and I'll rub them down with this, get them pretty used to the tarp, and then I'll switch to the saddle. I'll go until I feel like she's doing okay, and then I sort of move away. Now she's distracted, she's looking at something over there. But I don't really care all that much. If this was scaring her, she'd look at it more. I won't let her look away, but if she looks straight, that's fine. So I'll do one side, and then I'll just work on the other side. Just rub a little bit, take it away. Rub a little bit, take it away. No. Now if she gets pushy like that, that's not a let. At the very start, I maybe let that slide. But now I'm not going to anymore. She's comfortable enough around me, she doesn't need to be pushing on me. I'm not going to be a tyrant by any stretch of the imagination. But I'll just not let her be a little bit rude. one little point here, if you're going to do this with a tarp, make sure in the very beginning you do one side at a time. And the reason for this is, if you take and touch them on one side of the tarp and then throw it over their back, they'll look away, see the tarp on their offside, jump away from it, and maybe jump on top of you. So it's very important when you introduce the tarp on one side, make sure you introduce it on one side, then the other, then once you've done both, then you can cross it over. But do not cross over until you have done both. Rub over. Rub over. Over. Maybe you can extend it out just a tad. I'm not going to get it open. And then what I'm going to do is let her circle around me wearing this tarp. Again, now she gets a little rude. I was going to use my hand to keep her away from me. But I can take now, maybe whoosh it around a little bit. And to be quite honest with you, this is sort of the type of horse that I would rather I'm going to like once I start riding, because this energy that she has, I think I can put to a lot better use on her back. So again, she's allowed to be a little nervous, she isn't allowed to push me over. So I'm going to extend this out just a little bit more. Now this tarp does look like a family of a dozen rats moved into it. But those are air holes for speed. And it's patented. So nobody get your hopes up. I will sell it to you. They run about 600 bucks a piece. Okay, oh, again. Not being rude. Can't blame them for being nervous. If they're a little bit nervous, there's no way on earth I can punish them for that. But if they want to run into me, that isn't allowed.
We're down to about 35 minutes left in this session. About 35 minutes, Jason.
Okay. I'm just going to wander over here for a sec.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, Jason and his wife will have a booth over in the trade fair. He'd be absolutely delighted to have a visit from you. Just check out the show schedule and find out what booth that is.
Just because she does get herself a little tense at times, I don't want her to think I'm just out here giving her a hard time. So we'll spend a little time just walking away, just leading her, letting her let down. Now I'm going to put the pad on. In theory, this goes easier because they've been used to the tarp. So I'll put it on. I'm going to rub it over them a little bit. Put it on. One thing I will do, I'll throw it on after they're used to it in a little bit of an upward motion. So I'll go like this, and I'll throw it up like this. And the reason for that is, when you go to swing your saddle on, it'll be a lot heavier. So if they're used to seeing it come up high and land with just a little bit of a thud, then they won't get shocked as much when you do put the saddle on. So I'll just rub over, touch them through the pad. If they've never been blanketed before or had a lot of handling, they might not like that sensation of being touched through something. Called that one, didn't I? Okay. Again, you can be a little nervous, but you can't do that.
Keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, that these 4 horses that came to town from Corning, Saskatchewan, this is their first trip to the city, first trip off the farm, first trip in front of a crowd, and certainly the first exposure they've had to somebody that is asking them to do things.
gonna bring this mare out here. Not gonna try and set this on when she's bothered. I'll just wait for her to let down.
Do it old school. I don't think that's yes. I'm thinking you would. Plus it's that is true.
It's a little bigger horse than the last horse I had this on. Now I do want to step her out just a little bit because in a second, if she does jump, I don't want her between, I don't want to be between her and the panels, I should say. I'm going to rub her belly, and then I'm going to go fairly snappy. Oh, it's just a little too short. So I'll get this ladder go back out of the way again. No, stand there. Stand there. Go back to this side. Just want to back off. I'm just going to do this snug enough it isn't going to fall off, because I got a sneaky feeling she's going to try to make it fall off. Now I'm not going to do this overly tight. There. And I'll expect good things. I just wouldn't want to be AU in the first row, but other than that. Now I'm going to keep her head up a little bit if I can. It's a little hard with one like this because she's pushy. But if I can lead them around and keep that head up, then I can maybe get them moving without bucking. And again, it isn't the end of the world if they buck, but it isn't what I'm shooting for either. I'm going to stop them. I'm going to check my saddle, do it up one more.
I'm going to do a quick survey of the crowd. How many of you folks out there were not expecting to see a saddle on that filly in the first 30 minutes? Give me a show of hands.
That's why I teach the hind quarter yield. I'll let them go a little bit, and then they'll swing the butt away. I'm going to let them go a little bit, and then I'll swing the butt away, like so. Now she's trying to kind of do it maybe before I even ask for it. So let's keep that head up for a moment, and then I'll just let her go on by me. And that's good. I'll do it one more. I'm going to do this back cinch up one more. So that's now not quite as snug as I would want to if I was going to ride the horse, but it's snugger than what it was. Sometimes I wish you were a little bit scared of me, to be quite honest with you. Just because it would be easier to move around. Going to make a change here.
Would you?
It's a little too cowboy.
Oop. Snap this longer one on. Oh, sorry about that. Wasn't aiming for you. Step over here. I'm going to let her line up along this fence. Drop that. Line up along the fence. Oh, I called it just a little too late. Okay, if you want to go that way, go right ahead. I don't care where you go, just go. Now, when she's trotting along, if she's stepping out nice, I'm happy. But every once in a while, I'm going to yield the hind end just a little bit, and then send her out again. If she wants to go that way again, I do not care. But I'm going to try just to have her stepping. I want her to move out. Touch the ground instead of the horse. In theory, I'll take and just slow her down a little bit right by yielding the hindquarters right before I think she's going to buck. There. And to be quite honest with you, I kind of enjoy having a longer lead on her and being just a tad farther away from her. Because she's just a little bit of a bully, but that's going to sort itself out pretty quick, I think. So when you get them moving out like this, it's really easy if they follow the fence, or sort of follow the fence, because I don't have to do much as far as giving direction. Now at some point here, I'd like her to lope. She might buck when she gets into the lope. I really don't know, but we'll see. Nope. She's crossfiring. Nope. Opposite lead, but that doesn't really matter.
25 minutes left in this session.
There we go. So that's pretty free. So good. I'm going to see if I can yield the hindquarters. Like so. Now she kept going a little bit. I don't want to get too picky. Nope, nope, nope. I don't want to scare her with this flag either, but now I want her to go both ways. So she's moving out a lot freer. She's already gone the other way. You usually have to teach both things equally on a horse, but the forward part is pretty simple. Once you got one, you got the other. So that's pretty decent. Now she's crossfiring there again, not that it matters, but I would like to see if I can get her up. Give her a little touch. I'm not going to insist on it because she did a good job. So I'm going to try to yield the hind end again. Like so. So I'm pretty happy with that part. So I think this filly, I would say with her, the thing is she needs more work, not less. Not that I'm going to pile on, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go nuts. But I think she's the type that learns from having a job. Check this again. Now what I'm going to do here, I'm going to snap this lead rope on the snaffle bit. And now I'm just going to walk her around, putting little bits of pressure on the lead rope here and there. So there. I won't go too far. Stop and pet her. I'm going to go again. I'm just going to give a light pull. When she gives, I let go. She gives, I let go. I'll maybe do 2 or 3 on a revolution. Maybe 4. That's pretty decent. So that's pretty decent. Unsnap this. Gonna go the other way. Get these kinks out of the rope. Light pull, she gives, I let go. Light pull, she gives, I let go. I think this is one that on the first day, she's just going to be a little tough. But I think done right, no, don't rub on me, don't rub on me. I think done right, she'll just get better and better. I'm just going to let her sort of run into my elbow. There, she quit, so I stopped. There. There, she had a lot of resistance on that one, but then she gave, and I gave right away. There. There, yeah, she's almost spinning in the spot. I think we've got a ringer. This maybe once more. Now what I'm going to try to do, she might not let me. I'm going to slide this up over her head. I'll slide this down behind the saddle. Going to put just a little pressure on there. This time she's not following me for guidance. So I'll either hold steady or just rock lightly. It just depends what I think the horse would do better. Now I think she would pull steady all day. So that little bit of rocking did the job better.
Down to the last 20 minutes in this first session between Jason Irwin and Valentine.
I'll just hold. And that was pretty decent too. When that kind of falls over her face like that, I don't care because she's got to get used to a lot of different things. So I don't really feel the need to baby them all that much. So that's pretty decent on that side. Now I pulled her around to the left, but I didn't do that little exercise, so I think I will. Get around now. She might actually pull the wrong way because she's used to now giving to the pressure. Actually, I lied. I knew she was going to do it right from the moment I did it. There's not a doubt in my mind. And I'm glad you all agreed. Light pressure. That was pretty decent too. So I always like to do 3 on each side. I will do more than 3 if they're resisting, but if they give me 3 really good ones, I sort of say good enough. So I'm pretty happy with that there. So again, that was pretty decent. So one thing I am going to do right quick, I'm going to loosen the saddle a tad and reposition it, because sometimes it gets into when they jump around a little at the start, it will move forward. Just going to slide that back a tad, do it back up. Sort of aware that she might not like it, but I doubt it will be as much as the first time. Oh, I was maybe wrong with that part. That's good. Now, because I've repositioned this, I'm now going to ask her to move out again. Because it might be it's in a spot now where it's touching her just a little differently, and maybe she'll get just a little upset. And I don't want to be sitting on her back to find that out if she's upset. So I won't make her run and all that stuff again, but I'll just ask her to move. There. I'm just going to give her a second here. It's not that I'm trying to rush by any stretch of the imagination, but what I'm kind of thinking with her is, I think she's going to throw up a little bit of a wall, and I would like to move through that sooner than later to get to the good stuff, because I think there's a lot of good stuff, and I don't want to make promises I can't keep, but I think once we get through this, which I think will happen, I think she'll do pretty decent for me. If the ambulance comes in and wheels me away, you know I was really wrong about that. Another little trick I use. This gets the horse used to both a rope and seems to take a little bit of the buck out of them, if there was some there. I'll just throw the rope up over the hind end and move them around with a little bit of pressure there. If you don't know what I mean, you'll see it pretty soon. I'm going to put the rope on there. Again, I'm going to lead her to me, and I'm just going to pull a little bit. You see her scoot forward from that? And I don't need to do this till she quits, but I need to do it till she sort of accepts it to some degree. There. So now she's walking a little slower. Ears are slightly pinned. You know, she's not exactly saying, writing home to mom saying, I'm having such a good day at school today. But she's accepting of it. Every so often I'll give a little pull. And that because I don't want them jammed up. Horses that jam up are actually the ones that tend to throw you off. The ones that want to run away just run away with you. The ones that jam up throw you into the dirt.
You're down to 15 minutes left in this session, Jason, and just a reminder that the horse must be untacked by the end of the 60-minute time frame.
Okay. Other thing I'm going to do, I'm going to tuck the corner of this tarp into here. And I'm going to ask this filly to move around me while I wave it. She was pretty good with the tarp, actually. And one thing I want to point out, this tarp is tucked into the D-ring, not tied. If she goes to jump, all I have to do is give this a little pull, and she's free of it. So you wouldn't want to tie one on, because if they jumped, pulled away from you, and got away, now they're going to be scared with the tarp chasing them. But she's doing pretty good about that. So I'm going to touch. And again, if she was to jump, I would just give a yank, and she would be free of it. So I sure am not going to tie that on there solid. Head out the other way. Also, you notice this mare's moving around me a little bit better, which I said right before she stopped. But that's why I don't tend to drum on any one thing. I find if I touch on it, get it working, and then I'll leave. I'll come back to it several times throughout the course of the session. Now you got to be careful. One might cow kick at it, so I'm always ready to pull their head towards me to yield their hindquarters away.
Well, folks, you'd have to agree with me that for a very economical gate admission, to be able to watch 3 trainers under one roof in the comfort of these bleachers in a heated arena share their skills with us is truly a bargain. Wouldn't you agree? Once again, a big thank you to NARIC, the corporate sponsor of this event, the North American Equine Ranching Information Council, and we're pleased to have one of their reps that will be present in the booth over the next few days, Mr. Jim Pollock. Thank you, Jim, on behalf of Equine Expo and the Prairie Land Exhibition, as well as the Western College of Veterinary Medicine, and of course the Saskatchewan Horse Federation.
So what I'm doing now, I'm just walking around. Every once in a while I'll stop, put a little pressure on the reins, and I'd like her to back up. I'm not real surprised she's braced, but as soon as the foot moves, I let go. And I sort of ignore the head slinging and stuff like that because that'll just work itself out. She's resisting through her head and neck, but I can only really work on one problem at a time, so I'm going to worry about her feet. So there's a foot, there's a foot, there's a foot. So there's 3 feet, and there's 3 steps as opposed to 1. Again, she's kind of doing some of the stuff sort of shutting me out just a little bit. There's a foot, there's a foot, there's a foot. And now we're just going to go for a walk again. Normally I would stop and just pet on them for a couple minutes every once in a while. But this mare hasn't quite gotten to where she actually wants me petting on her. And that's, so I find with her, me moving and just letting her travel sort of is more of a relaxation to her than me just standing there.
Jason, just a question for you. I told the folks in introduction that you were originally from Prince Edward Island. Is that where you got the horse bug?
Well, we were always sort of involved with horses. My parents had a very large tack and western wear shop there. And then, but no, I started colts when I was kind of early teens. And then we raised horses, but didn't really, my parents didn't train horses. And that, so I kind of had to figure this end of it out by myself. But we always had good horses, so we had stuff to learn on that was, I would think, stuff that was worth putting the time into. Not that all of them aren't, but it's always nicer when you can ride one that's kind of naturally a goodie. So now I'm putting the pressure on back here. She's resisting. As soon as the foot moves backwards, I let go. As soon as the foot moves backwards, I let go. I don't pay any attention to that head throwing stuff at this point. I can work that out pretty quick. There goes another one. I barely touched the bridle that time. Our next session, I'm going to work more on personal space and probably yielding the front end, moving it away from me. But I just felt this session here, it was more important to me to show her the things that are going to matter so that I can work on all these things throughout the training thing instead of introducing them one at a time. No.
Down to about 9 minutes left in this session.
Okay.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, just so that you're aware of some of the responsibilities of our judges, one area is they have to judge the difficulty of the horse on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 point will be assigned if it's considered a very easy horse, to a maximum of 10 points if it's identified as being a difficult horse. So 10 potential points could influence most anybody's score. Another area that the judges will be watching for is the horse confident and trusting. Did the horse finish with a soft body and mind? Just some of the categories that our judges are watching for.
So obviously I'm just jumping up and down a little bit beside her, trying to get her used to that. I want something above her head, and that motion is sort of the motion she's going to make. I'm going to make, sorry, when I go to get on. Now I don't know that I'll get that far this evening.
As I mentioned in the introductions, Jason and his wife, Bronwyn, teach probably 20 or more horsemanship and liberty training clinics in any given year. And Bronwyn is in the bleachers with watchful eye, going to provide a little feedback to her Valentine's hubby.
I'm sure she'll have feedback, don't you worry. Just a little trick. If you do go to step on one, even your trained horses, try to have it where their far foot is farther back than their close one. And that way there, they can brace themselves under your weight better. Now that's actually pretty even. I'm not going to get picky, but what I'm doing here, you can't quite see because she's shuffling around a bit, but I'm putting my knee in the stirrup instead of my foot, because then I can simulate getting on without actually committing to it.
About 6 minutes left.
Okay. I'm just going to find a good spot to start looking to quit. Okay, I might be. I think she's saying she's a bit finished. So
Two more areas that our judges are watching for include, did the trainer clearly explain what he was doing? Did the trainer clearly explain why he was doing using a certain technique? Folks, you be the judge.
And I think that's going to do it. So I'm just looking for that little spot. And like I mentioned, now normally we're getting down on time, and even if we weren't, now if there's been a few more green lights that said go, I'd have probably tried to get on, but she's just kind of hit her point where she's about finished. And again, it's not that I'm trying to hurry through it, but at the same time, I think all of these steps, whether it be the bridling, the touching, the saddle, the tarp, the whip, any one of them could have been a fairly big roadblock with her. So by kind of moving through, introducing them all, well, nearly them all, in one shot, I think then I can build steadily off them, as opposed to every day, here's a new thing, oh what a surprise, here's another new thing, oh what a surprise. I'd rather touch on everything, but I don't want to end it on a poor note either. So we've got 4 minutes.
4 minutes left. And again, a category that our judges are watching for. Did the horse finish with a soft body and mind for a total potential score of 5 out of the first session?
If you would hand me that Libro, please. I threw it and I got carried away. Thank you, sir. So again, because this horse likes to fling its face a little bit, I got to get the bridle off, but I want to do it in such a way that doesn't make her harder to bridle later on. So what I'm going to do is pull the bridle forward, hold it high, and then I'm hoping she opens her mouth and just drops the bit out. But I don't want to try to pull it out. And that's how you teach them to put their head on the ground so you can take the bridle off. Bit up, and then let her drop it. So not picture perfect, but close enough.
Each and every year we find that there's a very experienced and informed audience that comes to this event, and certainly they're always timely in when they show their appreciation for progress and success.
Don't bump. So again, this way here. No. No.
As I mentioned before, ladies and gentlemen, on the final competition Sunday afternoon, this high hog round pen will be dismantled, and the final elements will take place in the entire arena. Once again, this high hog Arena is for sale at a smoking deal. And you want to talk to Garth Wright over at his booth in Hall B, in the trade fair.
Yeah, that one. Sweet.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say I'm not going to get a whole lot of amazing things done in the last minute. So just to try to end it on a little bit of a happy note, I don't know if she thinks of brushing as a happy thing.
1 minute.
I'm going to try to end this with not a bad thought. I'm sure she's going to go to bed tonight thinking, what was that? But we'll just knock this off. Also, sometimes when you saddle them for the first time, they'll sweat up a little bit, and you'll get it in the cinch area, and then you kind of get some knocks. If you can brush that out, your cinch won't rub them maybe later on. I'm going to pull her up to me.
20 seconds left, and you will be required to leave the arena.
Okay, do I leave the halter on?
Yes, we'll turn the horse over to its rightful owner, Mr. John King.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks very much.
Got one more round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Jason Irwin, Port Elgin, Ontario, trainer at North Star Livestock. Great job. We're going to take a moment or two, ladies and gentlemen, stand up, stretch your leg. Don't forfeit your seat, though. We've got a great crowd out here on Valentine's Day.